Their adults are unaliving our children. We complain about it. They can't comprehend. You understand me? And why is that? Because they've never seen us as the same as them. For a long time, we had tried to accept them as the same as us. But now, in the year 9 Ether, 2026, the roles have been reversed. We see them for who they are. Like the movie They Live, we put on the glasses. And now all we see is straight course, wavy hair, Neanderthal spawns. And the 400 years of oppression by nature's way has created the black man and woman of America to literally be the hardest, most stand-up man and woman on the planet, created in the image of God and the likeness of God. How dare someone or an entity that descends from a primate mixing with the human ever think that they can tell in this reality the black man and woman, the descendants of the original man and woman, no Neanderthal spawns, what the it is or what it was. We don't need to explain anything anymore. Have created a matrix-like society where they have tricked themselves into thinking that they're the civilized original beings on the planet and the original man and woman are the savages. They get on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and they argue with our kids. As our kids troll them, they really think we're a society of demons. They can't understand why we have a distrust and a dislike for their kind. It's not racism. It's common sense. If every time a turtle crosses the road, at one point, it's going to realize that them cars are going to crush it.
Shalom. First of all, let's start up again. Going on to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Kakatash. Double honors that teaches us in the parts of great millstone, likewise, brothers, but know this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly feeding the sheep and two brothers and sisters tuning in. Shalom. Today's lesson's titled, No Ease Amongst These Nations. Now, you saw the opening clip there with that Jake. He's in grievance. Okay, that's his own channel right there. You can see it on the screen there. And basically what he was talking about is the, not guilty, verdict for that Moabite, who killed that young Jake. And you have the young Jake, okay, who defended himself against a steroid, Edomite football player at some school. And, he got 35 years, okay, for self-defense. Okay, so while Jake them don't know the scriptures directly to go to concerning the times like that, you can see, there's hints that he definitely watches the prophets and understand that Esau is the basis of man, and also that, we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, and we're just constantly under duress. Okay, let's go into the book of Daniel 4 and 17, because as the righteous, we understand exactly why this is taking place. Of course, we're under the curses, but you have set up to rule this earth, and you can see the hell that's going on this earth is caused by the actions of a set of certain people, and those certain people are the Edomites, the so-called white people. They are the trouble, okay, that causes all the trouble that the nations on this earth experience, especially the children of Israel. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of man, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of man. I've gone over that word basis before, which talks about, immoral, of a low state, no sense of morality, no integrity. Okay, and all of these things describe the so-called white man, and that's who you see is in power right now. Okay, but we go into Revelation 13 and 10. We know what this man has done with us. Okay, you wonder why these other tribes, have that hatred towards us, and why they look and view us as nothing but either trouble or just lazy or just an object that they can take their frustration on, and not have any fear of repercussion. Is because of what this Edomite, okay, Esau the Edomite, the so-called white man, has done to us. It reads, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the fate of the saints." Now, once you take a look at this word, lead it, okay, from this particular precept here, and when you look at it in the ordinary dictionary, you can see how this really connects well with Esau, okay? Lead it is an archaic, older form of the word lead, meaning to guide, conduct, or show the way. It is third person singular present tense, meaning it is used when referring to he, she, or it. Now, take a look at meaning and usage. Guiding, to go in advance or show the path. Commanding, to direct or act as a commander. Influencing, to persuade or induce someone to act. When you look at the slave trade, who started it? These Edomites. Okay, henceforth you had the Ishmaelites, okay, or the Arabs, they follow suit along with all the other tribes, they follow suit. Okay, when you look at the rumors that are spread about us, okay, negative rumors, lies, the stolen identity, the labeling, okay, or the bywords and proverbs used against us, who started those things? It starts with the so-called white man. He's the one that has perpetuated this all across the globe, and this is the reason why our life is valueless, okay, across this globe. Yeah, they might be fans of Michael Jordan and Mike Tyson and a couple of these other people, but at the end of the day, in their mindset, our life is worth absolutely nothing. Let's go into Deuteronomy 28 and Psalm 65, and it reads, "And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy feet have rest. But the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind." Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go overseas, to experience this, okay? Keep in mind that when you have a place like Great Babylon, America, you have a cauldron of different tribes here. So you can go in a different city or even in a town that you live in, okay, and you can see people of different ethnic background are looking at you like in a very negative way, especially if you're a so-called black man, okay? And us Negroes, we are the primary target of hatred on this earth, okay? Continuing, it says, "And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, with power it were even, and at even thou shalt say, with power it were morning. For the fear of thine heart, wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see." Okay, and now you have this thing that's going on right now with Jake's them, they want to boycott the Moabites, them businesses, and, the Moabites them are saying, well, we don't care. Okay, you can do it. There'll be no more Jordans, no more this, no more that. And of course, both sides are very ignorant. We're talking about the 2/3 that are involved with this, okay, because, as you saw in that opening clip there with the Jake who was grieving, and talking, you could see Jake is very frustrated, but they don't quite understand, or they can't really put it together as to why things are going the way it is. So I'm going to show you these two clips, and then we're going to continue on here. Take a look at these two clips.
Indictment number 2023 GS 4007440. State of South Carolina, County of Richland versus Chike Rick Chow. We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Chike Rick Chow, as to the charge of murder, not guilty. Signed number 302, foreperson, June the 1st, 2026.
The jury in the trial of a former high school track athlete accused of fatally stabbing a rival during a meet in Texas has returned a guilty verdict. Carmelo Anthony was convicted of murdering fellow athlete Austin Metcalf in April of last year. The sentencing process is underway now as violence occurs outside the courtroom.
Okay, and as you saw in those clips, okay, and of course right now I have the hate comments, okay, and when you read these comments and you go down, you can see it can make you mad. It can make you really mad. I read a few of them. I've seen it over and over and over, but I put it there. You can pause the video if you want. You can look at it, but you can see what people really think about us. There's a lot of passive aggressive keyboard warriors, people who stand behind the keyboard, and they'll type in these comments, but these are the same people, that will walk to your face, hi, how you doing? Let's get together for lunch sometime and all of that stuff like that. And that's why we always say to you, okay, what your scriptures say to us, okay, never trust thine enemy. Okay, let's go into the book of Zechariah 11. And so verse 4 says, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, who possess to slay them, and hold himself not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. So, okay, Jakes them, who are in positions of, influence, they don't step across the line. They're not willing to give up their silk sheets, the praises they get, the paparazzi and all of that stuff. They're not willing to give that up. Okay, and use their image across this earth as some influencer, okay, to spread this gospel, to give the warning to our people, to glorify the name of Yahweh Shema Shai. They're not going to do it. Okay, they go along with these people because they're provided a lifestyle that Jake has always wanted. Keep in mind the parable of the Lazarus and the rich man. What did Lazarus desire? He desired the crumbs. Okay, and this is what you see. The likes of Jay-Z, Mike Tyson, and the rest of them, they're getting the crumbs, and they're not going to risk that crumbs, okay, for anything, okay? So you can see hate. Okay, let's go into Isaiah 16 and verse 6, okay, because this is what these Moabites, okay, aka Chinese, aka Gooks, Chinks, whatever the hell it is like that. And I'm not gonna put them all in the same category because we know there's Jakes amongst them, who have passion for us. But for the majority of them, they are basically they're sided with Esau, and they've determined within themselves that they want to be just like their master Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man. It says, we have heard the pride of Moab. He's very proud, even of his haughtiness and his pride and his wrath, but his lies shall not be so. Okay. Now, when you go into Jeremiah, okay, that talks about the pride of these so-called Chinese, and we've seen it. We've all gone in their stores, we've gone in their restaurants. That they probably poison us, give us like abomination to eat, and they especially because they're scattered all around, taking advantage of Jakes, they have this superiority complex, which is like laughable. Okay, and again, we don't focus our ministry on talking about Moab because it's obviously clear. Okay, all these other tribes are going to go into slavery. Okay, they're going to be subjected. Okay, to the orders of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Okay, and okay, but this is about warning our people against the current abased man that's who's been set in place right now to take peace from the earth. Okay, and to persecute the children of Israel. In fact, you go to Jeremiah 48, and verse 46, it reads, woe be unto thee, O Moab, the people of Chemosh, perisheth, for thy sons are taken captives and thy daughters captives. Yet will I bring again the captivity of Moab in the latter days, said the Lord Yahweh Shai. Thus far is the judgment of Moab. So these things are going to go into slavery. They just don't know it. So they'll understand when they're in that situation. Now, when we go into Luke 21 and verse 32, it reads, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. What is going to be fulfilled? Okay, the slaying of our people, incarceration of our people, just the unfair treatment of our people, all kinds of chaos going on this earth, the wars, okay, the MOTB, okay, which is the mark of the beast, civil unrest and just, famine, disease, pestilence, the animals coming out of place to destroy people, all kinds of craziness, okay? It says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. And take heed to yourself, lest at any time your heart be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unaware. So let's take a look at that word. Okay, surfeiting. Okay, and it is the act of overindulging, overeating, or consuming anything to extreme excess, often to the point of physical illness, disgust, or nausea, derived from the root word surfeit. It functions as a noun to the participle form of verb to surfeit. Okay, So basically, we've been warned not to get caught up in Great Babylon, America ways, okay, which is all about greed and gluttony and just everything is excess, okay, excess, wickedness, lewdness, perverseness, okay, and we have to make sure that we continue to stay, abreast of what's taking place. It says, "For as a snare shall it come on them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man." So basically, people consider us to be boring. We might be leading a boring life to some people, but what we are doing is, as watchmen, is we are watching every move that the so-called white man is making. We're watching, keeping abreast of the times that we're in, so that we're not caught off guard, and pray to the Lord Yahweh Shai that He will protect us through all of the wrath and judgment that the Lord Yahweh is going to bring upon this earth. Let's go to Micah 2:10. But our people, reason why you would feel some way and why it gets to them a lot of time, because they have invested into this place deeply, spiritually, and economically, and they just can't see any other option. It says, "Arise, ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction." Okay, because you try to make it here, it now works out. We're still under the curses. Okay, Yahweh Shemeshai is still angry with us. In fact, when we go to John 15 and verse 18, this is why you see the brothers and we always give glory unto Yahweh Shemeshai, because we can remember when we were in the world ignorant to everything. It says, "If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you are of the world will love its own. But because you are not of the world, but have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hated you." So if the world hates you and you're not part of the system and not part of the clique or whatever the case is like that, that's a good thing. It says, "Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they've kept my saying, they will keep yours also." Which there's no respect coming from our people towards us, because we don't have the image that Esau sets up as to what success, okay, and people of great stature looks like. Okay, we're very simply dressed men, okay, that go on the highway and byway with paper posters and worn-torn Bibles or old beat-up cell phones, and preach this gospel day in, day out. Okay, and we don't change for nothing. And for these people, it's like, okay, we have no value to them, but that's okay, because at the end of the day, okay, we're going to see Esau, the Moabites, and everybody that hates us, including our 2/3. Okay, this is what's going to happen. It says, "Thou," this is the book of Psalms 91, verse 5 reads, "Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the hour that fly by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh to thee." So this is talking about the killings and the amount of death that is about to take place, and it's going to come in various forms. So we are prepared mentally and physically, to see a lot of death. Okay, and it's going to be babies, it's going to be old women, kids, old men, feeble, members of your family, whoever. Okay, and it continues on. It says, "Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked." So it doesn't matter, okay, the fact that we have no ease, amongst these nations. At the end of the day, right now, okay, that time is coming to an end, to where everybody can trample up all over us. Okay, and they themselves are going to find themselves in a horrific situation. Okay, which is a judgment that the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai is going to bring upon everybody that walks this earth, who is not written in the book of life. Okay, so Lord willing, the elect will satisfy, let the close by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.